VShojo has failed again, as they say they lack the amount of money even to declare bankruptcy. That's right. They say that they are lacking in funds. We're going to get into the reality today and the two most likely scenarios. Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire, this legal mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. And this is the fast facts version, the quick and dirty version, the latest in legal news. So let's get into this one today as I'm on the road, but I've got a nice PowerPoint for you. So VShojo has failed again. So let me give you the scenario that's come out. And this, of course, came out through one of our favorite former talents. We have Kason here. So Kason had a nice clip where she was discussing the current state with VShojo. And she was surprised to learn in her communications and saying, hey, look, this is still going on. There's still a lot happening at VShojo. It's going to be a long time before everything is out in the open. Of course, that makes complete sense because, of course, there's lawsuits here. There's probably regulatory stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on with VShojo that they cannot all talk about, but they can talk about what's been disclosed about this bankruptcy. And bankruptcy, by the way, is something on this channel I told you guys about. I said bankruptcy is inevitable to bring up in these circumstances because bankruptcy is really the only way they're going to get out from under a lot of these obligations. Well, they came out here and told apparently Kason or her counsel, hey, apparently you need money, and guess what? Guess what? We don't have any money. They don't even have money to declare bankruptcy. They don't even have enough money. That's what VShojo is claiming. And they're saying that they want the talents to pay up. They're saying, hey, we're not going to be able to pay you back. Hey, talent, we could pay you back some. But if we don't declare bankruptcy, we're not going to be able to pay you back at all. And we don't even have the money, so we're not even going to get your taxes back. So blah, blah, blah. No, this is all completely bunk. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't, add up. And we're going to talk about this today. First of all, this is very good for Kason for sharing this, and thank you for Kason for getting this out. But the issue is there's really two scenarios. In the first scenario, VShojo is just lying. Okay, yes, there are legal costs for bankruptcy. That is true. You do have to pay for filing fees as you do with many other cases. And let's pretend you do everything yourself and you really don't contract a lawyer or you have a pro bono lawyer, etc. You might be able to get the costs around $1,000, right? That's pretty reasonable. The average cost is between $1,000 to $5,000 in America in 2025 for a corporate bankruptcy. That would be very reasonable. Once again, I know that for some people that is a lot of money, and I'm not trying to say that isn't a lot of money. However, for a corporation with $1 million budget, that is not a lot of money. And that is certainly, if you see your finances going down, a predictable expense. $1,000 should be something that a corporation, we're not talking about, Jimmy on the street corner. We're talking about a corporation should be able to find $1,000 to at least file a very basic bankruptcy. That should not be something that is a insurmountable object. And based on also the previous spending, it does seem like it's a lie, or it might be a lie, because they spent 10x of that on just ads before. And that's an estimate, right? It's not exact math. But what I'm saying is they spent multiples more just on advertising just in the single months before. So if you take one of those individual months and you just look at the advertising budget, it's more than this. It's 10x what they paid for bankruptcy. So you're telling me you were able to pay for all those ads, the ads that that Sea-Dog VA talked about in Shinjuku Station, etc., all over Japan, those super expensive ads. You were able to pay for those, but you weren't able to save $1,000 for bankruptcy? Really? Really? And you're able to pay staff and operations expenses, all those other things you had to, you could have said, hey, we're going to take a haircut. We're not going to come in on Fridays, whatever, right? We knew this downfall was happening and we couldn't save $1,000 for bankruptcy. Come on, man. And you're telling me the executives, you're telling me Gun Run and all the other executives can't get together and each pull out, let's say 10 executives and managers pull out $100, right? You can't get to 1,000? I'm not believing this. I'm really not believing this, especially where they live. $1,000 for a lot of these guys that were living in the Bay Area, $1,000 is a Tuesday dinner, right? Just in the Bay Area. So once again, I'm saying this is something that is absolutely possible, that they are just lying and trying as a last ditch effort to squeeze the talent because they know they don't have many cards left to threaten the talent. The talent is lawyered up. So now they're trying to bleed them for every last penny. And you know what? I think it's BS. I would call their bluff on that if it's scenario one. Now let's explore, because I always explore all options. I'm very fair We're very educational here. Let's go towards number 2. Let's go towards scenario 2. So scenario 2 is they are really broke. They're truly broke. Well, if they truly don't even have $1,000 or, $2,000, $3,000 in the bank, they are truly that broke. That would indicate a severe, not minor, a severe mismanagement of funds. That would be handling company funds in such a way that was completely reckless. The downfall was predictable. Bankruptcy cost is severely minimal in the scope of an overall corporate budget. The talents have no obligation to pay and should not pay. And beyond that, they should consider breaking their NDAs. Because if they find out that this is true, they're not lying, and they're actually that broke, if they're actually that broke, they cannot enforce the NDAs. How are they going to pay for enforcement of the NDAs? If you can't pay $1,000 to go declare bankruptcy, how are you going to spend tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars enforcing NDAs? I'll wait. I really will wait, because I don't see that making any sense in any world that's real. So if they want to keep the NDAs as enforceable, then okay. Another thing they could do is if they're really that broke and the talent said, okay, we'll pay you the $1,000, but you have to say the NDAs are now null and void. That's where they could go. Say, okay, you want money for a bankruptcy? Here's the plan. Here's the Sigma move. You just say, hey, I'll give you that $1,000 gun run, since you don't have 1,000. I'll give you 1,000. But all the NDAs are null and void. All of them. For all the talents. That's your move. That's your move. And that's checkmate, right? That's checkmate. That's how you bring them out and you call them out on that lie. You say, hey, I'll do this, but you've got to avoid the NDAs. If they're that broke and they're really in it for the good, they really are talent first, right? That's a good deal, right? Because the talents get to speak. Talents should be allowed to speak, right? If they're paying up. But the thing is, if they really are that broke, if they really don't have the money, that is opening the door to piercing the corporate veil. I've talked about this. It's a very important legal concept. And this deals with going past the corporate entity and suing the executives personally. Now, I know that we are really focused on Gun Run here, and he's one of the few we have pictures of, so I'm showing his picture. But it's not just Gun Run. It's the executives, the C-suite level guys, the highest level guys, including Gun Run, going after them personally for their assets. They seem to be very personally invested in this. They are personally following. I've noticed them on X following all of their detractors personally. So I imagine a lot of this is invested in the egos of these people, in their horrible decisions, and their bad mismanagement, and their absolutely mediocre handling of a company. So yes, I think that if they are that broke, go after them individually. So there's all these options here, guys, whether they're breaking the NDAs through an agreement, whether they're going after them personally, or whether they're just lying and doing a bluff. VShojo is clearly showing itself to be a failure yet again. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next one.